Hey man, how's it going? Whoa, how long have you been in here for?
What day is it?
It's Thursday.
I want to say 3 days now.
Good lord, Ryan.
Well, I have a final tomorrow, so...
Have you really been studying for 3 days?
Boom! There we go. Nope. Back to slacking off.
Well, that's not the reason I came over. I got this game at a garage sale. It's a Spongebob game, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Huh, interesting. How much that bad boy cost you?
Hey man, this is American made.
Hell yeah. Hey man, you interested? No, sorry, just looking. Really? It's free. Take it. It's free. No. That doesn't matter. I actually don't even want this. I thought you maybe could do a review on it.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty busy this week.
You haven't done a review in a while. Might be fun.
I think I'm gonna pass.
Alright, no, that's fine.
My head. What time is it? Oh shoot! I have 10 minutes to my final! What the hell?
Don't bother. You can't get out.
Joe, open the door. I have a final in 10 minutes.
I can't open the door. It won't open until you do your review.
What do you mean it won't open? Joe, just unlock the door and let me take my final.
Finish your review, and then the door will open. Sorry, my hands are tied.
Joe, come on, dude. This is a really important final. Oh my... Fine, I'll do the review. Whatever. SpongeBob games. There are actually quite a bit of them. Some of them are really good and are actually considered to be a classic to many people, including myself, like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, while others are just not good whatsoever, like Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Now, I've actually never played Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, so I'm very interested to see if this game is as bad as everyone says it is. Well, I guess there's only one way to find out whether that's true or not, and that is for me to play the game for myself. So with that said, let's review Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman was the 5th game to be introduced to the SpongeBob franchise. However, it was the first game to be released on a Nintendo console, which is a pretty big deal during the time. It was released on the Nintendo GameCube on December 18th, 2002. It was also released on the Game Boy Advance and PlayStation 2. Interestingly enough, this was the first and last game to be developed by a company called Big Sky Interactive Inc. In fact, this game caused Big Sky Interactive to be completely shut down. Damn, this game has got to be really bad for a company to be shut down because of its mere existence. I mean, how bad could this game be? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out.
Wow, I can tell this game is going to be bad just based on the intro screen alone.
This intro looks like it took a total of 5 minutes to make. There is no music whatsoever or any gameplay for that matter. It's just this awkwardly silent still shot of the title. They could have at least made the background move a little bit to make the intro card look a little more lively.
The title screen for Superman 64 looks better than this game, and that intro screen's a complete mess. Wow, I never thought I would say that Superman 64 is better than anything.
Okay, I shouldn't judge a game based on its title screen. Let's actually play the game.
What a silly dream! Mr. Krabs had to close the Krusty Krab!
Oh god, SpongeBob, what did they do to you? You look like the awkward cousin of that weird box enemy from Super Mario 64. You don't even look like something that would have passed the alpha version of Superman 64. Wait, is there an alpha version of Superman 64?
Normally, I would never judge a game based on its graphics, but when you have games like Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Pikmin that were all released a year before this game, you have no excuse. Hell, there are even third-party games from 2001 that looks better than this game, like Sonic Adventure 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and Casper's Spirit Dimensions. Yes, even this random game about Casper the Friendly Ghost looks better than Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Okay, so the graphics are a lost cause, but what about the gameplay? I mean, it can't be as bad as the graphics are, right?
Don't you think your little
Oh,
friend
God!
Gary would like to play some fetch?
Oh shit, that scared me.
Very well. Then move next to his fetching stick and press the action button to pick it up. Then you can carry the stick to Gary and delight him.
This is by far the creepiest and most out-of-place narration I have ever seen in the game. There was no narration during the opening cutscene, so why did they decide to add it here with this random segment? All you had to do was to tell me that you could pick up the stick by pushing B. You didn't have to scare the living shit out of me by having some random French guy narrate how I could bring delight to Gary. Another thing that really bothers me about this narration is why wasn't it done by Tom Kenny?
I mean, he voices SpongeBob in the game, and he's the voice actor that plays the narrator in the show. So why didn't he do both voices? I guess that would make too much sense. But what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber that doesn't know how to properly delight Gary.
Here we go!
Arr! Who summons me from my endless slumber? Silence! I'll not return to that prison ever again! In the case of accidental discovery and wanton disruption of my booty, the perpetrators must serve for an eternity on my bloody crew.
Okay, Dutchman, I think your logic is just a little bit flawed. First of all, why would the Dutchman be pissed off at SpongeBob for freeing him from his prison? If I was the Flying Dutchman, I would have thanked him for freeing me and then left, but instead he intends on punishing SpongeBob and friends because plot. That would be like if I freed a guy from prison and then he shot me for helping him get out of prison. While we're on the topic of the story's flaws, I have a few questions about this box that Gary finds. Where did Gary get this box from? Was it in SpongeBob's house? If so, how did it get there? And if it was outside, then who brought it to SpongeBob's door? How was Gary strong enough to push this box? And finally, why did Gary get this box instead of getting the stick that SpongeBob threw him? Was he not delighted enough with the stick that I got him? These are the questions that are gonna keep me up at night.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow, I have only played the first 5 minutes of the game, and there are already so many flaws. It really does look like we're in for a good time with this classic.
Alright, I think I've spent enough time on the intro. I mean, I have so much other great things to talk about with this game, like the game mechanics. Yay! Woo! Let's go game mechanics.
Oh, okay, cool. So it looks like there's a mechanic where you can change costumes in order to use new abilities. I wonder what kind of amazing abilities you'll be able to use with these costumes. Well, it looks like there are 4 different costumes, being a reef blower, which is used to blow away a few objects and activate some mechanics, a mermaid man costume, which helps SpongeBob lift heavy objects and shoot water balls at enemies and buttons, a costume called Square Pants. Okay, that's an interesting name for a costume, not really creative at all, but which is SpongeBob without a costume on. And the most OP costume in the game, the fishing gear, which is used to collect jellyfish, attack enemies, and grab hooks to reach higher areas. So it looks like each costume has its own unique features that you have to use to solve specific puzzles.
Okay, I have to admit, this is actually a pretty clever game mechanic. But the question is, will it actually work the way it's intended to work? Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
For starters, the only costume that you'll really be using throughout your playthrough of the game is the fishing gear, because it's just way better than any of the other costumes in the game. Something that I haven't mentioned yet is that Revenge of the Flying Dutchman is a collectathon game, meaning that it has a crap ton of different things that you have to collect throughout the game in order to advance. And one of those collectibles are jellyfish, which are located in every single area. And remember how I said each costume has its own unique features? Well, since the fishing gear is the only costume where you can collect jellyfish, that means that you have to wear this costume throughout most of the game. Because of this, you'll almost never use any of the other costumes in the game.
Now if you think that's bad, just wait. It gets way worse.
The most annoying feature with each costume is the fact that each one has its own unique theme to accompany it. Now, why is this an issue? Well, this is an issue because this means that throughout most of your playthrough, you'll hear the same song on loop over and over again. And since you're mainly using the jellyfishing gear costume, you'll hear the same theme on loop for most of your playthrough. Since Big Sky Interactive designed the music of the game to be assigned to each costume instead of each area, most of the areas in the game have no unique themes. Well, there are 2 areas that get their own themes, being Chum World and the Dutchman's Graveyard, which are arguably worse than the other themes. So for the first 2 or 3 hours of the game, you'll hear that same fishing gear theme on loop over and over again, and trust me, it becomes torturous to listen to.
In summary, the developers of Big Sky Interactive were too lazy to make more than 9 songs. Yes, you heard me right, there are only 9 songs in this game, and out of those 9 songs, you only get to hear more than 3 of them for more than 5 minutes. How in the world can you mess up music? Now, I know it's hard to make video game music, I completely understand that. But it's not hard to implement video game music to a specific course. Any game I can look at can do this properly. So how did SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman royally mess this concept up? Okay, you know what? I'll let this slide. I can let this slide. That's fine. As long as they didn't mess up the level development. Because how could you do that with a SpongeBob game? You are working with some of the most iconic places in cartoon history. It's almost impossible to screw that up. Yeah, of course they found a way to fuck up the level design.
There are 7 different areas in the game, being Bikini Bottom, Downtown, Sandy's Tree Dome, Jellyfish Fields, Chum World, Goon Lagoon, and the Dutchman's Graveyard. Out of these 7 areas, only 2 of them are tolerable, and they're the smallest areas in the game, being Bikini Bottom and Sandy's Tree Dome. The reason why I think these areas aren't as bad as the rest of them is because these areas actually are pretty close to what they're supposed to represent. Sandy's Tree Dome actually looks the way it does in the show, and Bikini Bottom's layout is pretty similar to what the show does as well. Plus, these levels' objectives aren't boring. Okay, well, they aren't as boring as the rest of the game's objectives are. They aren't having you deliver Krabby Patties to random houses throughout downtown, or having you collect 100 jellyfish in a massive area that is difficult to navigate.
I mean, that would be ridiculous. Who in their right mind would decide, hey, that would be fun to do, let's put that in our game?
I'll put out a bag filled with patties whenever enough orders come in. You need to grab the bag and get to all our customers before it's too late.
My name is Rusty Scumper, and the competition is sponsored by my bait shop. It's been going on for days. The first contestant to gather 100 jellyfish and bring them back here is the winner.
Yeah, that's about right. I'm not even surprised. That's fine. That's fine.
Guys, I can't make this shit up. These missions actually exist. The people at Big Sky Interactive thought it would be fun for people to aimlessly wander around these disgusting areas trying to find jellyfish and random apartments.
If I wanted to play a job simulator game, then I would play Job Simulator, not Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Maybe these missions could have been a little more fun if the areas we were in actually looked the way downtown and Jellyfish Fields looked in the show. I mean, just look at downtown. Does this area look anything like it does in the show? Last time I checked, I don't remember downtown being full of random apartments and dark alleys with thugs walking all over the streets. Actually, I might be wrong about this. Let me just double check the show real quick. Yeah, I know. They didn't even try. They did not even try. While we're talking about how disgusting downtown looks, let's talk about some of the other areas in the game like Goon Lagoon and Jellyfish Fields. First of all, how the hell did Big Sky Interactive mess up Goon Lagoon and Jellyfish Fields? These are the two most iconic places in the show, and they made them become the worst areas in the game. Honestly, I don't understand how you could create this from this, or how you can get this from this. I could probably design a better level layout than this in MS Paint. Okay, maybe I'm being a little too strict on these levels. Maybe they have something about them that makes them unique. Alright, let me check. Nope. Okay, well, that's not entirely true. Goon Lagoon actually has a pretty creative section. There's a part in the area where you have to climb up a lighthouse, which is actually pretty fun to do. But it gets ruined because of the stupid way the music works in this game. Okay, when you see this, what kind of music would you think works here? Well, I can tell you it's certainly not this. This would have actually been pretty cool if Big Sky Interactive had chosen the right music here. But surprise, surprise, they were too lazy to create a song that would be unique to this area. I mean, that would have been far too much work for just one area in the game.
What? You think they care about adding polish to the game? Of course they don't. I mean, as long as it's a SpongeBob game and it stars SpongeBob, who cares if it's enjoyable? Am I right, guys?
In summary, the areas in the game look nothing like the source material, the missions are too bland or feel way too much like busy work, the areas are stupidly easy to get lost in, and the parts of the game that were actually fun to play get completely ruined because they were way too lazy to add polish.
Now, I could talk about the ridiculous missions in this game, like having to collect 100 fucking jellyfish and then 50 more right afterwards, but I don't want to be here for another hour. And I don't want to talk about that because everyone else has already talked about that. And I feel like anything else I would say about it would be redundant, as well as some of the other missions in this game. So let's skip to the end of the game, I guess. Fuck it, who cares? Do you really want me to rant about each individual level?
Once you've collected all of the Dutchman's personal items that you've been collecting throughout the entire game, which I just realized I forgot to mention till just now. Okay, let me summarize this real quick. So in order to get one of the Dutchman's personal items, you have to collect all the letters in the word Spongebob. Once you've done this, you have to explore the entire area and play this hot and cold game to find the treasure chest that has the Dutchman's personal item inside of it. There are 7 total items that you'll need to collect in order to beat the game.
So essentially, if you want to beat this game, you have to 100% it. That means you have to get every single one of the collectibles in order to even get a chance to fight the Flying Dutchman. This is such a horrible choice in your game. That would be like if Super Mario 64, you had to collect every single one of the stars in order to beat Bowser. You have to collect all 120 stars, then you can beat Bowser and save the princess. After that, there's no in-game content. There's nothing you can do afterwards. There's no reason to play it once you beat the game. That would be horrible. There'd be no replayability for any game you beat. But, you know, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman doesn't care about that. Honestly, they probably knew that no one would go back and play the game once they beat it. So it's like, hey, you have to collect everything if you want to beat this game. I mean, honestly, if there was post-game content, I would not go back and play it to get all the content. I would not want to get 100% this game.
Once you've collected all 7 items, you have to go on the Dutchman ship and rescue Squidward, Patrick, Gary, Sandy, and Mr. Krabs.
Once you do all of this, you will be treated to one of the greatest final bosses video. I'm sorry. I can't say that without laughing. The final boss in this game is so sad. How do you... I can't. Just take a look. Just look at it.
I'm the Flying Dutchman!
Well guys, I did it. I think I have finally found the worst boss ever. All you have to do to beat the Flying Dutchman is to circle around him and throw 3 bombs at him. That's it. The Flying Dutchman, the antagonist throughout the entire game, the whole reason why you're playing this shitty game, goes down almost effortlessly. I'm pretty sure I could put a 6-year-old in front of the GameCube, give him the controls, and without even teaching him how to play the game, he could beat the Flying Dutchman. This is sad. The final boss in the game goes down almost as easily as a normal enemy does. And the final boss in the game actually is technically the first boss in the game. Okay, actually, there might be another boss because there's this enemy in Jellyfish Fields where you get a ticket from him in order to go to Chum World, but he goes down in 1 hit. So is it really a boss fight or is it just an enemy with a specific item you need? Actually, now that I think about it, it could be a boss fight because it has a cutscene before it gets into the fight. If that actually is a boss fight, that's really sad. I hope it's not. That would actually trump the Dutchman as being the easiest boss, if it actually is considered to be a boss. Also, while we're talking about how the Dutchman is the easiest boss ever, can we also talk about how he also has the worst weakness that I've ever seen? In what way could a bomb hurt a ghost? That'd be like if they threw a bomb at the Slimer to blow it up. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, that's really essentially what they do in the movie, but that's besides the point. Just in case you don't know this, ghosts can go through anything. So throwing a bomb at the Dutchman would only hurt you, not a ghost that's already dead. I mean, that kind of is the whole gimmick with ghosts. But apparently Big Sky Interactive didn't get the memo.
Alright kids, if you ever have trouble with those pesky old ghosts, then you know what to do.
Once you beat the Dutchman, you get the bottle he was trapped in, trap him back in it, and then you beat the game. Holy shit. I have played some pretty bad games in the past, but I don't think I have ever played a game quite like this one. This game is by far the worst thing that I have ever played. The gameplay felt way too floaty, especially when it came to doing certain jumps in Goo Lagoon and Jellyfish Fields. The graphics for this game look as ugly as Superman 64, which really is saying something because have you seen that game? And the levels are nothing like they are in the show, and are full of boring missions that would just glitch out sometimes.
There you go. That was Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, the worst game that I have ever played. Now, I have played some pretty bad games in the past, but none of them have ever been as bad as this one. I have never seen a game mess up in every single aspect of it. I mean, there's nothing good about this game. The only thing I could say that's actually pretty good about the game, besides the narrator of course, is the voice acting. The voice acting in this game is solid. Other than that, everything else is horrible. I hope that I never have to play this game again. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a final I have to go and take. Okay, I finished the review, and I go take my final now.
Of course, but it really won't matter.
What do you mean it won't matter?
Well, this is all a dream.
This is a dream?
Oh yeah. You're sitting in there unconscious, and I think you even have the Flying Dutchman when you passed out.
Oh, okay. Well, if this is a dream, Then is there a chance that Revenge of the Flying Dutchman could actually be a good game?
Oh no, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, of course it is. Wait a second. If this is a dream, then who are you? Alright. Well, I guess I'm gonna wake up now. That's how dreams work.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But why in the name of Neptune did you throw the game at me? It was so unnecessary.
Because I thought it'd be fun. And it was. But I was also a little pissed you didn't want to do my review idea.
Well, don't worry. I'm gonna do it now. And trust me, I have plenty of ideas.
How can you have good ideas if you haven't played the game yet? Where are you looking?